Welcome to the Living Ageless and Bold podcast. Each episode, I bring you amazing women who inspire, educate, and share their experiences and journeys along the way. So grab a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's relax and have some fun hearing what can be accomplished after 55.
Hi, everybody. Today is going to be super fun. I have a cheerleader with us. And I know you're thinking, Christina, a cheerleader, this is a podcast geared towards women over 55. Well, I'm about to introduce you to Sherry Cantrell, who is a cheerleader at the age of 75. She's with the Sun City Poms. Welcome, Sherry.
Good morning. Nice to talk with you. This is going to be fun.
It is going to be fun. And I know people are listening going, wait a minute, 75-year-old cheerleader. Tell us about the Sun City Poms.
Okay. I love to talk about the Sun City Poms. First, I have to say that we're really not cheerleaders in that, how most people think of cheerleaders, but that's how we started. The club started in 1979 here in Sun City, Arizona. And they actually started as cheerleaders for the Sun City Saints. That was a professional women's softball team. And Del Webb, who was the creator and developer of this community, allowed them to use the field, and he wanted to promote them, and they wanted to increase attendance. So they had the Sun City Poms, or a group of women at that time, come out and be cheerleaders. And they were having so much fun that when the team eventually folded, they decided to stay together as a group and became the Sun City Pom-Poms at that time. And they marched in their very first parade, the very first Fiesta Bowl parade in 1979. And Del Webb
hold on, wait.
Okay.
You said that quickly. I want everyone to hear Fiesta Bowl, as in big, huge bowl game. You weren't just in the high school. This is like big college game day bowl game.
Yeah, and we're still marching in that parade. We have been marching in that parade since 1979. And
wow,
it's so much fun. It's so much fun being in parades. And anyway, Del Webb bought the costumes. The club continued, and thanks to wonderful women that preceded us, the club is still going strong, and we love, love, love what we do. And so we're more of a pom-pom squad. We march in parades. We perform at high schools. We perform at various care centers, from independent living even to memory care centers, and that's an experience. We go to conventions. Many people hire us to perform for them, and it's a blast. It's a blast. It's a total blast.
And the criteria, I'm so excited to say I'm 56. So if I moved to Sun City, I could try out. Not sure I could make it because I didn't make the cheerleading squad and I didn't make the pom-pom squad in high school. But it's for all these girls out there like me. You just give inspiration and hope that you could do something fun later.
Exactly. And that's really what we want to do. We want to inspire people and also show people we're ambassadors for healthy living and good fitness, and that it doesn't matter what age you are. You can still get out there and do fun things. And we inspire a lot of people. If you were to attend a parade, say Fiesta Bowl or Veterans Day, we marched in 7 parades this past year. And that's typically about what we do from a parade standpoint. But we actually perform in probably 40 to 50 or more events throughout the entire year. And the entire year from September through May. So we're really very busy. But the parades...
How many women? How many women are in the group?
We have 32 members right now. And that membership varies.
What's the age range?
You can join at 55, but we have no members in their 50s right now. We have 13 members who are in their 60s, 13 in their 70s, 1 in their 90s, and I think 5 in their 80s. Wow. So our oldest member is 90 years old, and she still marches. She marched in Fiesta Bowl last December, and it's almost it's a 2 to 3 mile parade. And she does fantastic, and she's kind of our poster child. We love her. She's a
Oh,
beautiful person.
bet. I
So
bet. My
so when,
aunt's mother-in-law was in her 90s working in the quote unquote old folks home, taking care
okay.
of the 70-year-olds. And we always loved that about her. And I just envision all of you all being like her because she was this little spitfire and just amazing. And I mean, you have to be in shape if you're walking 2 miles in a parade and you have routines, right? That you all
Oh yeah,
rehearse and practice. Yeah.
yes, we do. Well, we come in all sizes, shapes, not just ages, but we're all different shapes. So we don't discriminate in that regard. You do have to have the stamina to march those parades. So yes, you do have to be fit to that degree. But many people are doing it. And you mentioned not being a cheerleader, and some people think, well, a lot of us are former cheerleaders, and no, that's not true. I never did anything like this in my life. Of course, when I was in high school, they didn't offer things like that. We had 4 cheerleaders in our high school. About the only thing you could do if you weren't one of those 4 is be in the booster club. And we didn't have athletic programs for girls. We didn't have pom-pom squads or dancing squads. So this was totally new for those people that are in their 70s that are like me. They just didn't have those opportunities. So this is all new. Now we're seeing some of the younger ones come in, and some of them do come in with drill team background. But still, I would say the majority were not cheerleaders. So
Wow. And
it's
do
a
you have
challenge.
kids?
I do. I have two children, and I have 4 stepchildren. And
And I would love to know what they think about you
oh my
and this.
gosh, my daughter thinks I'm fantastic. I mean, she's my biggest cheerleader, and my son too. I mean, they're both very, very proud of what I'm doing and think it's marvelous. So yeah, I'm busy, busy, busy. When I moved here,
Wow.
I joined the Poms. I really didn't go out I wasn't sure. I just thought, okay, I'll check it out. And there's a story behind all of that, but here I am. I'm still doing it. So it's great.
Well, tell us the story. You can't
Tell you the
just go over it
story.
like that. Tell us the
Okay.
story.
Well, I was at a dance fitness class, and I'd been going to that for a while. And this woman walks up to me, and I had taken my girlfriend with me at that time, and she had wanted to be a pom. And I'm like, I don't think that's my thing. I'm not sure I really want to do that. So this woman who was in class comes up to me and she goes, I think you would be good pom material. I've watched you do moves in class, and my friend is going, yes, yes. And I'm going, nah, I don't know. So we went to a meeting, checked it out, and decided to join. And it was fun. And it's even more fun than it was 5 years ago. We've got a great group of women. Our culture is like a sisterhood. We're all bonded. It's almost like being back in college when I was in a sorority. I feel like these women, we're all kind of like-minded individuals, but we come from such varied backgrounds and diverse occupations and experiences, but we practice so much together. We become very, very close. They're my support group. They're my friends. We know things about each other's families. I feel like I've known them more than 5 years. I've grown up with them. I'm growing up with them in my old age.
You're not old, Cher. You are not old.
Oh, it's
So
just
can anyone join? Is there a tryout process, or is it
okay.
just
Well,
come
what
on?
we have, first of all, there are some requirements. You have to be a resident within Sun City. We get a lot of inquiries from women who want to join us, but they don't live here, unfortunately. So, but if you live in Sun City and you pay the community fee that's required and have a valid card, you can certainly come and check us out. And you have to be 55, of course, plus. And then when you do come, what we've started even just this past year, we've implemented a training class, an intro to POMS class, and that runs about 12 weeks. And these girls come in. we don't call it an audition process, but I guess it is in a sense, because you have to be able to learn two marching routines in that 12-week period, because we need to know that you can learn quickly. You have rhythm, agility, ability to take instruction. And if you're not doing a precise move well enough, and correct it. So this is our first year through this, and we've gotten some great people out of it. Sometimes it's just not a person's thing, and they realize they can't commit that much time, or it's just too strenuous for various reasons. They may not decide to join. But so yes, we're very open to allowing people to try out with us and see if they like it, and if it's going to be their thing. So
I know I got the big red X when you said rhythm. That's definitely what I'm lacking. So I might not be able to move to Sun City.
No, I think you have to count to 8. Let's put it that way. If you have to be able to count 1, 2,
that
3,
I can
4.
do.
There you go.
Okay, thank goodness. There's hope for me yet.
There is.
But it's a lot of how often do you all practice?
Oh, well, the marchers, if you just want to be a marcher, you can do that. They practice a minimum of 1 hour a week. We have a weekly meeting on Thursdays, and they practice for 1 hour before that meeting. And then they attend the meeting. And sometimes we have additional practices, particularly before a parade. But minimally, they practice 1 hour a week. If you're a performer where you're one that, and you can do both, and I do both, you can practice. Okay. I mean, you can go out to these different events and perform dance routines at the care centers and the high schools. And I want to talk about the high schools in a minute. But the practice for them is 4 hours on Monday and at least 2, sometimes 3 hours on Tuesdays, and then 2 hours on Thursdays. So that gets up to be about 10 hours a week. But it's a challenge.
What great exercise.
That's one of the huge benefits for us, is that it's physical and mentally. You have to memorize these routines, and it's good for your brain. You're switching from right to left, and you have to coordinate your hands and your feet. And man, it's a workout. And sometimes we come back the next week and we're like, what did we learn last week? But we know a lot of different dance routines, and we have to be able to perform those at these shows. And so I wanted to mention the high schools.
Yes.
When I first joined, I'm thinking, high school? What high school wants to see a 55 plus woman out there in a glittery costume dancing? But They are phenomenal. I did my very first high school performance this year. It's amazing. These kids they're behind us. I mean, you walk into a gym, and these are the big assemblies, and they're either their pep rallies, and they're the sound, you can't even hear the music. The sound is so loud, and they're cheering. And the first one I went to, they had their phones out with their flashlights, and it was dark, and they go crazy. Now, whether, they think, I guess they're looking at us like their grandmas, and they're thinking, wow, they're impressed. And some of the administrative people tell us that the kids love us. They want us back every year. And I think high schools are the best. I love performing in high schools. And so hopefully we're showing them. Go ahead.
Yeah. And hanging out with the kids, I feel makes you younger.
Oh, yeah.
I love hanging. Yeah. My kids are in their early 20s, and even in high school and college, I always wanted to host the parties and have the sleepovers, because they just keep you young. That must be such an adrenaline rush when you go into that.
It is, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's one guy even asked one of the girls to go to the prom with him.
Did she go?
Oh, God, no. But they all want their pictures taken with us after the event. One of the last ones we did was outside on the football field, and we'd been there the year before. So the teachers had told us, this isn't going to be chaos like the last time. We're going to hold them back and bring them up in groups to have pictures taken. But the minute we were done, they stormed the field out of the bleachers, and they were pushing and I mean, security guards were out there trying to hold him back. It was like, oh my gosh, I feel like
Oh
a
my
star.
Yeah, you're big
Anyway,
celebrities.
we are, and they love it. They do love it, and you hope they take that message home with them to their moms or to their grandmas, what they
Yeah.
experienced. So it's a great. So the memory.
Do you
I went.
just go to the high schools in the Sun City area, or do you
Um,
travel?
well, we travel outside the Phoenix area, sometimes down to Mesa or Chandler or Gilbert, but it's mostly local and within the Phoenix
Okay.
metro area. But
So you are
yeah,
celebrities in Phoenix.
we are. And the
I
parades we
know. I
do are
love it.
also local. We do the Veterans Day parade, which is every year in downtown Phoenix, and we do the Fiesta Bowl, and then we do a lot of different local ones. And some of the local ones are fun because the crowd is, you could almost reach out and touch them, and they're lined on the street. So when we do the Litchfield Christmas parade, it's kind of a narrow corridor, and they're all cheering. And my husband is one of my biggest supporters, so he goes to the parades, and he tells me as he's walking along, the spectators are commenting, "You go, girls." The little girls are just enthralled with us. They're
Oh, I'm
cheering
sure.
us. And so you get a lot back when you're participating in a parade or at one of the care centers. You get a lot of energy back from the crowd and from the people that are watching you, and you see the joy on their faces and the support that we're getting and the joy we're giving them. So it's just something you have to experience. One of the new girls this last year, when she first performed, I think it was either Veterans Day or Fiesta Bowl, and she just burst into tears when it was over with because she was so
Oh,
overwhelmed by the feeling she got marching in that parade. So, and then the care centers. Oh my gosh, when my mom was in independent living down in Florida, I remember going to see her, and she was so excited just to go down and see someone sing or a piano. Someone was coming in to perform a piano concert, and she, as all the other residents there, they just get so much out of it, and they look so forward to having entertainment come in. And it didn't really matter how good they were; they just loved having something to do. So, as a performer, I'm starting to cry now, but you get so much out of that. You perform for these people, and sometimes you may not. Some of them don't react, but you can see their foot tapping or their fingers tapping on the counter, and so they're getting a lot out of that. Um, One of the last ones we did, this gentleman had his. Well, we do a lot of military routines, and we had just performed Military Medley, which honors all the branches of the service, and then we followed that up with God Bless America. And this
mm.
facility was one of these daycare facilities where the caretakers come in and drop their client off, and then they have a free afternoon. So it was a small audience, but this one man had his, from World War II. We have, that number is getting smaller and smaller in the audience, but he had his hat on. And after we did those two performances, he's sobbing. And this other girl and I walked up, and pretty soon we're all crying, and he kept apologizing because he was crying, but he was so overwhelmed and so emotionally affected by those two routines. And he had also lost two sons in the military. It's like, so we were having this sob
Oh, God.
fest, but he was so, it was a beautiful moment. It was a beautiful moment. Anyway, that's about all I can say.
I No, but it just must be so fulfilling.
It
Like, there are a
is.
lot of people out there who think, oh, what am I going to be doing at 75? Certainly not at 90. And you guys get the joy of all of this, the kids and the people in facilities and military, and wow,
Yeah, we
wow.
do. And it's also amazing to see these gentlemen and women when you're singing in the medley part, when you're singing about the Army or the Navy or the Coast Guard or the Marines or the Air Force, when their branch of the service comes up, they're struggling to get out of their chairs and stand up. or they sing along with us. They sing "God Bless America" when we perform that. So it's very, very moving, very moving. And
It
those
sounds
are
like they need
probably,
to take you on the USO tour,
wouldn't that be fun? I'm up for
right?
that. That would be good. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. So those are two routines. We've performed it so many times. It's kind of like, oh man, you don't want to get tired of it because it's such a stirring and moving performance for these people that we will always keep that in our routine bank, I guess, for performing, because they're such good numbers and the audience loves them. So,
Were you all able to do anything during COVID?
oh wow,
Like
COVID.
anything outside?
No, in 2020, I was elected to be secretary, and that took place in March. And in March, they shut us down. So we had a whole new board. We had a new president, vice president, secretary. The treasurer was a carryover from the previous board. But so we had nothing to do. The community here was shut down. All the clubs were shut down. So in one regard, it was actually good for our club because it kind of forced us to take a look at what we could do to keep ourselves connected through that summer and through the entire year. So we were not allowed to use the facilities here in the summertime when we take a break. Anyway, we did Zoom. We started doing Zoom, and we started learning a group routine that we could perform, because we knew when we came back we'd be really rusty. We wouldn't be able to do some of these routines without several months of practice to get back up to speed. So for all of that summer and the rest of 20 and 2021, we didn't get back together until the fall of 2021. But what happened is that some girls left. We did some recruiting, and we got a fresh group of girls in there, and it took off like fire. We were so energized to get back into this, and we started to become very close. We were practicing a lot, and the club culture kind of changed as a result of COVID. So even though as horrible as it was, and as much as it didn't allow us to be together, when we did come back, we were strong. We didn't take a lot of bookings in 2021, so it was probably the first part of 2022, and then this past year that we've really done a lot of performances. So it was hard,
Are
as
you
it
all
was for
paid, or
everybody.
you're all volunteers?
We're all volunteers. We do not have any club fees. We have many loyal and supportive sponsors. So we go out, and we have a lot of local sponsors that support us. Our costumes are quite expensive, so we don't get them too often. And we use the money that our supporters provide us, and we do get paid at some of our shows. We do a lot of volunteer shows, but we also get paid for performances at high schools. And I would say the fees aren't that much, because we also pay our girls for gas mileage to drive to these events. And we'll put on an hour show with probably 12 to 16 numbers. And we have a lot of costume changes. It's a big production, but we'll also do small shows. We perform at charities. We did March of Dimes this year. That was interesting because we were told we weren't going to perform, and we were just going to go down there to be at their opening ceremony and make an arch for the people to walk through. They were doing a walkathon, but when they got there, they wanted us to perform. Well, we didn't bring our music. We didn't. And we do a really good routine to Uptown Funk. And so one of the guys there found it, and it wasn't the one we use. It was a different rendition of it. And we're going, no, can't do that one. So we finally found one that we could dance to. And so we did perform. So we try to make do when we have problems. At one parade, we had the music stop, and we were just having to march along.
Yeah.
So we run into problems once in a while. But anyway, going back to charities, we did March of Dimes. We do an event every year for Big Brothers, Big Sisters. One of the anchors here at one of the news stations does a car wash every year. And so he always invites us to come. So we get a spot on TV. He always interviews us. So we're on the local TV station. And then we do a routine, and they film that and broadcast that over the station. But that earns money for Big Brothers, Big Sisters charities. So we do several each year that we do every year, and that's one of them. And then in addition, I guess we've been called on at conventions. We did one with great. It was a Vietnam veteran convention that was held here in Phoenix, and they invited us to perform, and that was a good experience. So, anyway, you've got to come and join us.
Oh my gosh! I'm telling you, are there any other groups that you know of that are like you all?
We were Del Webb. Well, Sun City in Arizona was the very first adult community that opened in 1960. So we're the original hallmark, I guess, community for that type of community. So there are other Sun City communities around the nation and other retirement groups, and some of them are starting to try to develop their own little dance programs. But I would say, we have a lot of notoriety because of the fact that we started so long ago, and we were such a sensation back then that's carried over. And so we get calls we were on Australia, the Good Morning show last year. They wanted to interview us on their Good Morning Australia or something. I'd have to look it up what it was, but so we were interviewed by them. The UK has interviewed us. If you look back through the history, they did travel a lot back in the day. They went to Washington, D.C. There's pictures with Nancy Reagan. They've done parades out of town. So we get a lot of documentaries that are written about us. We were in People magazine online edition recently, and National Geographic.
Well, I have to tell you, that's how I found out about you, because my phone and my messages, like on Instagram, blew up. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, you've got to get them on the podcast. This is amazing."
Oh.
And so, that's where so many people saw you, was on People.
Well, good.
Yes.
That's good.
So
that's
I thank all my friends, who sent this to me. And then I reached out this is what I want to do. Like, I have so much energy. I just started this podcast at 56. It's like I feel like I'm just starting, and to know that, you guys are doing this at 75 in their 80s and 90s. I mean, how inspiring to everybody listening and watching that this is what we can look up to.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I hope we do inspire people. That's one of our mottos is we aspire to inspire before we expire.
I love that. Fantastic.
That one,
well,
and age is just a number. Those are our two big mottos. So.
Right. And if you all are not living ageless and bold, this is the epitome of this entire podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So, gosh, thank you. So at the end of every podcast, I ask the same two questions of everybody, and it's just so fun to hear how people respond. What is your greatest accomplishment since you've turned 50? I know it was a little while ago, but
you're talking.
You want me to say 70?
Well,
we could do 70 if you want to do that.
Well, I think if you look back at everything you've done in your life, you can probably go to different checkpoints and say, well, I was a great mother at 40. I achieved a career goal at age 50. And honestly, every one of those accomplishments is worthy of being called the greatest accomplishment. But it's hard for me to pick one, because it really depends on where you are in your life journey. So for me, I think I'm going to do what you said. I'm going to look at 70. So in my 70s, I moved to Sun City. It was a new chapter in my life. I came here and I joined yoga. I joined an art club because I like to paint. I joined a dance fitness class. I tap dance. I still take tap dance classes, and I joined the Poms. And so I look at that and I think, wow, I'm doing a lot more than I ever did when I was in my 60s. And so for me, I think what I would have to say my greatest accomplishment is that instead of slowing down, I'm speeding up. And when many people at this age, 75, they're putting on the brakes and I'm hitting the gas pedal. So that, to me, that's my greatest accomplishment at this point.
I love that. And as you're hitting your gas pedal, the next question is, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh, man. Okay, now I have to be realistic. So I throw out age is just a number, and it is. To me, it's mental. It's like I don't feel my age. I still feel like I'm that little girl and that child is inside of me. So when I'm 85, which is 10 years, I pray to God that I'm still as healthy and active as I am now, and that I'm still around to see that birthday. And if I am, and everything's going like it is right now, then hopefully I'll still be marching right alongside those new young. Maybe you'll be there by now. Maybe you'll be maybe you'll be there, and I'll be marching right alongside of you. But if it's not, if that's not meant to be, then things change. I would hope that I'm still mentally able to cultivate my curiosity. I love to do different things. I'm very eclectic in my hobbies and what I like and what I enjoy. So I still plan to find joy in my life at 80, and that's where I'll be at 85.
Love it. Sherry, I could talk to you forever. Thank you so much for joining me. It was just so special to have you on, and thank you for sharing everything about the Poms.
Thank you so much for having me. I truly enjoyed it, and I love what you're doing. And I might steal your phrase, living age and bold, because I do feel like that's exactly what we do. Thank you, Christine.
You could steal it.